You don't need to drink to have a good time. But
it sure does help.
Yeah.
And that's the cold opening right there. That was it. Good job, guys.
Well, now they know who we are as people. Welcome to VaultCrashers, a show dedicated to kicking down the vault door to help you find something you'll fall in love with. Our mission, our creed, our code is this: to share our passion for Vault comics in a way that makes them approachable and accessible to everyone. We want you to find the comic book or graphic novel you'll fall in love with. I'm Adair. My pronouns are she, her.
I'm Dan. My pronouns are he, him.
And I am Nikki. My pronouns are they, them. So Vault Comics, in case you didn't know, was founded in 2016 and is based in Missoula, Montana. They publish creator-owned horror, fantasy, and sci-fi comics and graphic novels, and have an imprint called Wonderbound for middle grade and young adult readers, as well as a few more things in the works. This show, VaultCrashers, is just dedicated to showcasing at least one Vault title, so maybe a first issue or an entire arc wrap up each month, and we'll hype up whatever the fuck is going on. So that being said, what are we getting into this month?
So this month, our first month, the featured comic is Door to Door, Night by Night, which is from the Nightfall imprint, which is the closest to my heart. A little back-of-the-box blurb for the book. The Heritage Mills sales team travels from town to town knocking on doors. They're the best at what they do, which also means they're the worst. They're broken, each and every one of them, haunted by closets full of skeletons that they're bursting. When they discover a terrible secret behind one fateful door, it opens their eyes to a world full of real monsters hidden inside of every small town. It is written by a comic master of horror, Cullen Bunn, who also wrote Last Book You'll Ever Read, also published by Vault. Art is by Sally Cantirino, who has also been involved in several Vault projects, including I Walk with Monsters and Human Remains. Dee Cunnifee is the colorist, and letters are by Andworld Design. Always get so confused by Andworld Design because it's more than one person of how they do that. But with each episode, we are going to be drinking something inspired by the comic. As you know, Nikki is from another show where they drink whiskey. But on this show, we're going to be doing special cocktails not special cocktails, whatever you feel fits the tone of the book. For me, for this book, if you can't figure it out, dive bars are something that is apparent in that. And the only way to kick off something is to drink champagne. So what I'm drinking is the champagne of beer, Miller High Life.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Are you drinking the whole thing right now?
Chug.
He didn't finish that.
I did.
No, you didn't. Okay, yeah, that's all right. Good job.
He just had an empty can next to it to prove his point.
Yeah,
fun. Actually, I wanted to why did I crush that? I wanted to talk about something. So this right here, this is my second one. See where the top is on this, like where the little pop thing? I don't know what they call that. You know what that is? This little area where you pop it.
It's like the areola of a soda can.
Yeah, the nipple of the soda can. It's not the way they printed it is different. So like this one, it's just the printing is off. Like it's not in the same spot. It's really pissing me off. So I just need everybody to know that, Miller High Life, if you're watching,
fix it.
And that's our podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for coming. Sorry, I just need to get that out. I just need to let that be known.
I will say part of that little back of the cover intro for Door to Door felt like you were describing the crew of Gatecrashers. We just have so many skeletons. We're just the worst at what we do.
No, we're the best at what we do.
Which is why we're the worst.
We will not survive in society as it has been created. We've had to create our own microcosm of society. I am drinking to honor Nikki's podcast, Sex and Whiskey, and also the southern roots of the series, I am drinking Kentucky whiskey with also ginger beer because it's still very early in the afternoon here.
It's Friday though. You can drink whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know, I still have to go to work later, so.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
That's
yeah, that sucks.
it sucks to suck. Like that's
Ginger
rough.
beer rules.
Ginger beer is delicious. I'm drinking whiskey because I am who I am and I don't give a fuck.
Someday.
What do you do? You
I
just
like when
drink
we were
just a
saying
straight cup.
It's in a shot glass.
Oh,
And there's a
general
reason.
sipping.
No.
there you go.
Woo! I
There's-
like when you said cocktails because I'm like, what is
No.
this? The Ritz?
What are we
Wait,
doing?
Nikki, what is
Mixing
the-
our drinks
What is the beer, the whiskey you drink?
right now?
Like in life, what's your brand?
Like if I have to choose one,
Yeah, like what is the one you drink
For the
typically?
rest of time.
so my go-to whiskey when I'm out ordering whiskey, it's going to probably be Maker's Mark or Jameson because they're really easy to drink and I put it over ice.
I love
At
Jameson.
home, no, I don't. Neither
What do
one
you
of
drink
those.
at home?
Whatever.
I got a box of mystery whiskey in the mail, and I assume it was from you.
Yeah, no, okay, yes, that was definitely.
I haven't
a
figured it
thank-
because, yeah, thank
that
you.
was a thank you for an event that happened.
Yeah. I didn't. I just had a full thing of whiskey. It's like I am too busy to figure this out. I'm just gonna put it on the shelf and walk away and
No,
hope for the best.
I don't even know what whiskey was sent to you, but if I have a lot of whiskey in my house, so it kind of looks like this bar background at my house. It's not actually my house. I wish, but not really. I don't want to have a bar in my house. So
I
it's really
genuinely
just-
have been thinking about how much I want a bar in my house.
I mean, y'all can come over. It looks kind of like a bar. There's a lot of liquor, but if you ask me what's your like one go-to whiskey at my house, I'm going to be like, it's probably not whiskey. It's probably aquavit.
I was about to say you like those like is it bourbon barreled aquavit? Isn't that what you?
That's one of my favorites. So yeah, I don't know. That's a hard question. What are we talking
Adair-
about? Are we here to
Adair,
wait? What
what do
show
you-
is this?
Wait, I want to talk about dive bars for a second before we get into the book. Adair, what is your go-to order? Well, let me tell you this. The background right here, Jay's Elbow Room. This is my dive bar. I used to go here so often that the staff, after 3 years of me not going there, still knows me by name.
Wow.
It was a problem. My typical drink when I used to go to the bar almost every night was Irish trash cans. You ever had one of those?
Oh my gosh, that brings me back to Montana.
Like
Oh
a
my-
lot. Like I used to have like 4 or 5.
Dang.
It was a rough. Oh, they're delicious. I'll still get them now. But what is your typical dive bar order?
It depends. I am also representing my favorite dive bar from Dallas, though I no longer live there because it is called Adair's Saloon. I always want to represent my name if I can find it in the wild. Back in Montana, I would do this thing called a Happy Meal, and you'd get like a Montucky Cold Snap beer, horrible beer, and a shot of Jameson afterwards, and that was like my favorite
A
thing.
Happy Meal?
They called it a Happy Meal,
That's incredible.
right? And then in Dallas, I would get 2 Shiners and 2 Jello shots at my favorite bar, the Old Crow, because that made me functional, but it was decent enough that I could still play pool poorly. And I would say here I tend to go, because it's Seattle, it's a little more like, you feel a little like you have to do something. I would either do a draft, Mac and Jacks, or Rainier, or an old fashioned, because why not? I fancy sometimes.
I'm stuck
I'm
on the
stuck
Shiner
on a Happy
Bock
Meal.
Shiner Jello shot thing. Like I think both of us, Dan and I, were both just like jaw drop. Like what?
So we have that in Philly, but it's not any Jello. It's called a citywide, and it's a tall boy and a shot of tequila, I think. You have to slam the entire tall boy back, and then you do the shot. I did 3 of those one time at this place called Connie's Rick Rack, which was a room as big as my office, the bar. And it was a punk night. I think like some really big punk band was playing this small show, like tiny, like secret show. And we just happened to end up there. And as I finished my 3 drinks, I was like, oh, wow. And then some shirtless, sweaty man came up to me, grabbed me, and goes, you're ready. And I went, ready for what? And he threw me into the pit. Great night. But comics.
But comics.
But comics.
Often we are drunk when we read them.
I think I'm gonna pour myself more whiskey because based on the trajectory of this so far, I think I need it.
Oh,
I
did
just
you
topped
really?
off my cup.
Yeah, come on. These books, I have so much passion for this stuff. So you're gonna get full 11 Dan McMahon all the time.
Dan might cry.
I've had a lot of that type of energy from you in person, and
Yeah,
it's something. It really is.
I've only met Dan for a solid 5 to 10 minutes in person, and I definitely got that vibe.
I ran out of that panel to go to another interview.
One day we'll have to
You
share.
had a level of manic that was just fascinating to observe.
Yeah, I mean, that's normal. There's that's just who I am.
Fair enough.
There's
One
9
day we'll
things going on at
share
once.
the story of us getting almost kidnapped. Like the first time Dan and I met in person, we almost got kidnapped, and then we went and got cake.
The cake was fucking incredible.
That's how we met.
That was a really fun situation to come into. When that happened.
Yeah.
When I was like, "What'd you do last night? Almost got kidnapped." What?
Yeah.
New York
Let's
City,
go and
baby.
see 80,000 of our closest friends now.
And it all has to do with comics because we were there for New York Comic Con.
Yeah,
so
we were all there
all
for
of
New
this
York Comic Con.
It fits. What are we doing?
So before we get into the discussion about door to door, night by night, every time I say the name of the book, I flip 3 words.
I do too. I'm like door by door, night to night. Nope.
Yeah.
That was the wrong one.
Before we get deeper, before we get into a spoiler conversation.
Oh yeah.
So if you have not read the issue, go pick it up from Vault Comics. You can get it at your local comic book stores. You can get it through Comixology. You can order it through their website. Their website allows you to download PDFs. If you don't have a local comic book store, you can go to thirdeyecomics.com, as I will plug in every show that I'm ever in. Not sponsored,
because you love them.
The only people I trust to always treat you right. Before we get into spoilers, we do have an interview with Sally Cantirino, who is our first interview on the show. It is a special interview because Sally is also from New Jersey, like I am. I'm very happy about that, and we talk about that. We get into how juicy the Mothman's ass is, and so much more in our interview. You'll see me in a second. I know you're very lucky to get a lot of me this episode, and then we'll be back for the discussion. I am here with Sally Cantirino to talk about the new book, Door to Door, Night by Night, which we are discussing on this very first episode of VaultCrashers. Wow, I haven't said it out loud as lively as that. How are you?
I'm great.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited that you're the first guest, being that you're from New Jersey as well.
Yes, thank you.
Big Jersey guy here. We know your name. Can you introduce your cat as well? Because they're also on camera.
This is my cat, Klein. She's my administrative assistant. She answers all my emails. If you're in the Vault Slack, that's who you're talking to all day. She likes to cause chaos. I guarantee she's going to start trying to eat my headphone wire in about 30 seconds.
Oh, look at the face. Okay, so as you know, I'm a very hard-hitting journalist. So I start all my interviews off the same way. What is your favorite sandwich?
Favorite sandwich? It's from Mike's in Keyport, New Jersey, and it is provolone, turkey, lettuce, tomato, onion if I'm in the mood, and enough oil and vinegar that the bread is soggy by the time you get home.
Oh God, I love that. Big oil and vinegar guy.
Yeah, the bag has to be dripping with oil and vinegar by the time I get home. That's how I know there's enough on the sandwich.
You want it to be soggy before you get into it. Yeah, that's really the way to go. So, Door to Door, Night by Night is written by Cullen Bunn, who's done quite a lot of horror books, but you are on your 3rd horror book for Vault, and you've also done other horror work outside of this.
Yes.
What do you think is unique to horror in comics as a medium?
I think it's a unique challenge, because with TV and movies, you have things like music, sound effects. You have the story pretty much on rails. It's getting revealed at your pace. I like at your pace as a director or storyteller, you know, you're controlling how quickly or slowly the audience is consuming the medium. With comics, you don't have sound effects. Like, you have sound effects, but they're, you know, they're text based. You don't have background music. You have to use pacing, and every page turn is a valuable resource if you're going to do a reveal or jump scare. And you have to be mindful of the fact that when people are reading a comic, they are looking at a whole page or a 2-page spread at a time. So you have to be careful, like you have to be very judicious when it comes to using your page turns for a reveal or a jump scare.
That's so interesting I guess I don't think about jump scares via the page turn. I do think me reading digitally so much these days ruins a lot of the effect of page turning, which kind of depresses me now that I think about it. But this story is about, you know what is your elevator pitch for this book? So if someone came up to you like on the street and was like, hey, what's your book about?
Door to Door, Night by Night is about a team of door-to-door salesfolk in the American South in the 80s. They pick up a hitchhiker. She has a history that is revealed a little bit in the first issue. And the team gets sucked into this world of monsters, cryptids, aliens, goblins, ghosts, whatever. And they go from town to town, selling by day and dealing with monsters by night.
It's a great title for something like that. With it being in the American South, did you say Southwest or South?
Southeast.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Is it going to be dealing with a lot of cryptids from those areas?
I think so. I mean, I think Cullen is pulling a lot from, you know, his background growing up, you know, because the characters are all based on people that he remembers from when his dad was a door-to-door salesman. You know,
That's
so they're all kind of like loosely based on people that worked with Cullen's dad. And so I think Cullen is pulling a lot from, you know, his history, and also the region that he grew up in.
Huh. That is very interesting. Now, if it is the Southeast, that does include West Virginia, right?
Yes.
If I don't want to spoil or anything. I don't want any spoilers. I don't want to know who's going to show up in the book, but I do want to know your personal take on this. If you were to draw the Mothman, would he have a juicy ass?
Absolutely, 100%.
Thank you. That's all I needed.
I would levelly render his butt. Have you read issues 2 and 3 yet?
I have. I try to read them as they come out so I can talk about them and not spoil it for other people.
Had a fun time drawing some little monster butts in issues 2 and 3. So you will know that I promise to deliver on Mothman butts.
Thank you. That's all right.
But you have to draw
Great
Mothman.
interview.
That's it. We're done. That's all you need to know.
I just need to know about Mothman's ass.
We're an ongoing series. We may have to do Mothman at some point.
Oh, imagine those variant covers. Yeah, I just the fact that statue has the juiciest ass ever. You have to imagine that's there for a reason. Like some sculptor wouldn't have put that juicy caboose there just for funsies. Now with I guess I call it the main character or the main POV, Max, the new character who just joined this band of salespeople. I don't. If it's a spoiler, don't tell me. But the streak of gray in her hair, was that a design choice by you? Because the gray streak is maybe my favorite thing any character in comics can have. Period.
So I think that may have been in Cullen's notes for Max's character design. But I'm also like, I'm going gray at like 32, so I'm a big fan of giving characters gray hair. Like in Human Remains, I gave Dr. Sharma gray, framing her face too.
It just adds flair to every people
I
and
love it.
characters. Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
My favorite is the Gray Temples. It's my I couldn't tell you why, but I've loved that since I was like young.
It's distinguished.
It's a good look.
Distinguished.
So I don't want to get into spoilers for the other issues, but I do want to talk about your monster in issue 1.
Yes.
I don't know if I can pronounce the name. It's the
I think it's Lamashtu.
that I would have never have gotten that. That would have just been now with that
Monster Mash. Called Monster Mash.
Yeah, the Monster Mash. Is that based on something, or is that just a nightmare you two brought about?
So I believe that it is from Mesopotamian. I forget if it's Syrian or Assyrian. Mesopotamian mythology.
It's got big bleeding titties,
It does.
tentacles under its arms.
Yep.
It is beautiful, but it is disastrous to look at.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And the book itself kind of blends horror and humor. For you personally, why do you think those two things go hand in hand so often?
I mean, I think that doing reveals and jump scares are just like the opposite side of the same coin as like landing a punchline or a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's all about timing and like how you are able to use pacing and once again those like page turns in comics, you know, like you have to think about the pacing like anytime in comics and the page layout and how are you going to make this moment land, whether it's humor or horror.
I like that. Now, for you personally, do you think there is any unique flair you bring to horror? Like what is your personal touch in your art?
It's really hard because I'm not I tend to finish things and then like put them away and never look at them again. So I'm like, I don't want to look at my own work. I don't want to think about it.
I do the same thing.
I mean, I think I'm just good at creature design. I'm good at drawing big monsters, which is like great for this series because it's like new one at every issue or every 2 issues.
That's,
you know, like designing the monster for I Walk with Monsters, the shapeshifter, and designing the big gross alien monster thing for Human Remains. Like I have a thing that I like to do and it's big monsters.
I'm excited. I love those 2 books. I think the first time you and I actually spoke is an interview for I Walk with Monsters after the book wrapped.
Probably, yeah.
I loved those 2 books, but you only got to do like one monster in those. But now I'm excited to be able to see the other nightmare creatures you pull out after the bleeding titty monster that is in this issue. So what other books should people be picking up from you right now?
So the trade for Human Remains came out in September. So pick that up. The trade for I Walk with Monsters has been out for like a year. So if you haven't grabbed that yet, grab it. In the spring, the trade paperback version of The Final Girls from Comixology will be out in the world. So start letting your local shop or local library know that you want that. If you are not somebody who likes to read things digitally, you will have a chance to read it on paper.
Hell yeah. Thank you for plugging the local library. I always forget to do that.
Listen, I would not be making comics if my local library growing up did not have a robust comic section and a like suggestion box where I just put, you know, the names of every single comic I wanted to read.
That's incredible. That's so cool to see. Like that's where you picked it all up. But thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Very excited to see where the series goes, and we'll talk again soon.
Awesome. It was so nice to talk to you. Thank you for having me on as the very first VaultCrashers guest.
I guess we go back to the episode now. So see me in a second.
Okay.
You guys want to talk about comics?
I'm like crying right now.
You just come
I
back
hate
in and
you
we're
right
crying.
Okay, so let's
I'm like,
talk.
I don't
crying.
show emotion in general, so don't make me cry.
Door to door. Like, after this show, you're going to be very different as a person.
Ooh.
Door to Door, Night by Night. It's a book from Vault Comics. A fun thing we did talk about in the interview is that all the characters are based off of people that Cullen Bunn's dad worked with as a salesman. Like, all those people are based on someone. So, like, those were all in his notes to Sally to draw people this way.
I love that.
Um,
That's fun insight. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Fun fact.
that's what happens when I talk to people. These interviews are the coolest thing about comics for me. I love it.
Yet you don't know anything about me.
Well, listen, there's going to be an interview with you soon. I don't know what we're going to interview you about, but it's going to not be fun. It's going to be like 2020. Is that the big interview, guys? Where they like sit in the room? Barbara Walters. That's
No
it.
one
That's what I'm trying to
watches
say.
live TV anymore, Dan. What are you? We're in the age of
Look,
streaming.
I don't know. I'm like, I don't know
Whatever.
what that
Talk
is.
about the comic. I'm gonna let. I talk a lot, so
No,
take
Okay.
I'm enjoying this, but like I that's something we actually talked about at New York City Comic Con was just how wonderful it is when you get to be in this world where there's like a motley crew of characters and they have these like those flashbacks as you learn more about them. And I've read all three of the first. I read the first three issues in succession, so I'm gonna try and be vague because I don't remember at what point like you find out like this little intricacy about this character. But I did love this like motley crew coming in because I often will read comics that are a little bit more on the like the micro and have it be a little bit more like one person's journey. Like if you look at like, I mean, yes, there's a crew of characters in like last book you'll ever read, but I mean, you're mainly focusing on these two people as they navigate this book tour. But I loved that. And I think coming from Montana, though it's not the South, it's really, there's a ton of character in because you have the ranchers, you have like the liberal elite that have moved here from California, you have everything going on there. And so I loved being brought into that world.
Before we get in the book, I have to ask both of you this. What got you into Vault Comics? Like, I should have done this at the top. What got you into Vault Comics or comics in general? Because I want to understand how you're coming at these things, because I am probably coming at it from a wholly different direction. So
So for me, getting into comics, I read Hellboy when I was younger, and then I read Preacher. Both of those very different comics. Preacher is it's an experience, and I love it. And but I was young, like I don't remember what year that came out. I was too young for that shit, basically. But I read that, and then I came back and read Hellboy again, like about
96.
5 or 6 years ago, and was like, I need to like really get back into comics. And I think that was about the time Wasted Space was happening, and that was something I'm like, I would never, based on the description, I was like, I would never fucking read this. And then I started reading it, and I was like, and I'm in love with Wasted Space, which
With a blue man.
he's a fuckbot.
Yes.
He can get it. Yeah, Dust is daddy. Everybody should know that.
Dust Daddy.
I wrote like a thirst piece on him for VaultCrashers, so
You did.
Link me that.
that's I will. That's probably, that's the one that really got me into Vault. And then I put down comics for a little bit just while I was doing other stuff. And when I went to pick up comics again, it was Vault. So I don't remember which one. And now we're here. Adair.
Yeah. For me, sort of the same, sort of different. I think my first entrance into comics was actually like Johnny Quest comics back in like 3rd grade. My neighbor loved them, and I remember needing to get him a birthday present and like going into our like local comic book store. And I will say that liking comics in the 90s as a young girl was not a particularly supportive environment. So I remember going in, seeing all these like stories. I was super curious. I remember like as like the X-Men movies were coming out too, being like, oh yeah, like that comic, and making that connection of like, oh, these are like becoming movies or shows. And I think it also was really what got me into like pop culture and like the cultural zeitgeist of like cinema and TV as well, like these book adaptations, these comic adaptations. So I think it really kind of just got me intrigued by this whole world that is now very much part of my identity. And then I would say I took a pause. I think I was very, being a teenage, like a middle school, preteen, teenage girl, I was very sensitive to people's criticisms, as happens. And so I then was reintroduced with Squirrel Girl, who to this day, just really, there's something about it in my heart that I'm just like, I resonate with her.
Right on.
That totally tracks.
Yeah. And then I got really into, oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the order in which, because it's sort of, I also, as silly as it might be, my sister, who is 13 years older than me, had a large collection of Archie comics, which I also definitely devoured, and then figured out if you erase the speech bubble, you can write in your own things. So there's probably somewhere some Archie comics that I wrote into that are ridiculous with my friends in high school. And then Fable, I believe, was like then another big like world building story that I got very into. And then that kind of, and I also then got really into also like Frank Miller. I liked like Sin City and all of those like more graphic novels. And I was really enjoying these bigger stories. And I was kind of into history in general. And so I really got into that. Vault was on my radar, but not in the way that it is obviously now, being from Missoula, Montana. Like I was aware of it. But because I had already left Missoula by the time that Vault started, but I was aware of like this cool like concept of, oh, these comics are coming from my hometown. But I will say that I was not super involved in Vault's, in the world that Vault was building, until like a year ago. And I was really, my local comic book shop, one of the people that works there is very like, loves to put Vault on the shelves. So thank you, Arcane Comics in Seattle, Washington. But yeah, so that was kind of, and then one of my close friends also got a job with Vault Comics, and so that like made it more part of my day-to-day conversations with my friends. So that's kind of where my history with Vault and comics in general comes from.
Yeah, we all have very different entrances to all of this. Interesting.
What about you, Dan?
Mhm.
I feel like I've told. I actually don't know if I actually ever told the story on VaultCrashers. I grew up with comics. I mean, I was a kid who watched Spider-Man, X-Men, and Batman religiously. To be frank, I didn't like outside of that for Marvel. I still am only just getting past Spider-Man, and I read X-Men. I read a lot of X-Men, but like I never really like I don't know. It was never my thing. So I always, DC was where it was at for me. I've read DC comics my whole life. I kind of weaned a bit. Well, so the reason I mentioned Third Eye is because I started Third Eye when I moved to Maryland. And I didn't really have, I moved there with like middle school and you're super awkward already. I didn't really have any friends for the first year because it was like a new school, stuff like that. I would go to the Third Eye. That's when I started reading weekly, which was Final Crisis. But Steve, the guy who runs the store, got me into Garth Ennis, probably too young. And I've been obsessed. I met him in New York, which was a very scary moment for me. But from there, I really only read Cape books for a very long time, unless it was Ennis. I read a lot of Ennis's other stuff. And then I started picking up indies here and there, but through college, I went to New York every year, but I only was reading like the big two stuff, mostly DC. But then I guess it probably started when the show started. Like I got more into Twitter and things, and I started like looking around. Then I started working for CBR. And my editor at the time, Sam Puck, they were living in Missoula, that area. and they were friends with Tim. And they were like, "Hey, I think you'll like this book, The Plot." And I was like, "Okay, I'll check it out." And if you're listening to the show, you might know my relationship with The Plot is extremely personal and has been ever since. I have 2 pages of it on my wall. It is my favorite comic of all time. And from there, I was just in Vault. And Vault, that's funny because it was the first Nightfall book, and I got right in at the beginning of Nightfall, and I've been in since. And that's been my relationship with Vault since. My name is in The Plot because I wrote a ton of analysis of it, and I've pretty much interviewed most teams from the books and done something with every book that I've had since. But now I'm finally getting to do this with both of you, which I'm very excited about because I've wanted to do this for a long time, but I didn't want me to be a driving force in it. So I'm glad both of you are here, and you're the one steering the ship. I am the child in the back seat, and I am the problem. So
I'm sorry to tell you, your drivers have been drinking.
Your driver.
So maybe
rock
it's
and
best that we're not in this
roll!
vehicle together.
I want to throw this out there and say that Vault Comics is the reason I'm part of Gatecrashers, because
Same.
it was one where I posted something about The Plot or another, it may have been something else, and it's Twitter, that's how I met everybody. And
R.I.P. I don't know. By
I
the
don't
time
know,
this
it may-
releases, is it going to
who
exist?
knows, it is what it is. But I remember you commenting on me posting the trade of The Plot and saying tonight's reading, and you had a comment about it, and Adrian commented on it as well. And I was like, oh, and then 2 months later, I'm talking to Dan and doing stuff for Gatecrashers. And I really think that there's something about Vault that, and Adair and I, we will say, we met in a Vault Whatnot stream.
Yeah.
And
Our friendship is completely based on
it's
Vault.
completely based on Vault. So there's a reason the 3 of us are doing this show together. We are very much connected in our own personal, let's have some feels about it and drink way.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
now we're
that's how I do
here.
everything.
That's usually, I'm always in my feels, maybe not drinking, but sometimes.
And now we get to talk about Door to Door Night by Night.
Yeah,
Yay!
there's a preacher in there who drinks, and that's where that's who I am. Okay, let's talk about why are
Bleeding
we here?
titties. That has been something that's stuck in my mind since I've read this issue. That monster's nipples were bleeding the whole
Okay,
time.
so we can start with the bloody nipple monster if you want, because I want to talk about that monster. Spoiler alert,
we did a spoiler. We're good.
We did it
we did
again.
a while ago. We just had
we did spoiler
really
alert,
bad.
and then we talked about our lives for 45 minutes.
Much like we would if we were at an actual bar.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
This is the whole vibe. There's a monster in here, and I think her name is, I wrote it down, Lamastu. She's a Mesopotamian demon who is known for killing babies. Okay.
I have to say, I love that all the monsters are based on monsters.
Yes.
Or folklore or different things. That was so my vibe. I was so into it.
I think that's one of those things that I love about Cullen Bunn is the monsters that are chosen, and then the fact that we are all in our own way dealing with our own demons. But this monster in particular, I had to look up the monster because I knew enough about it. But as soon as you see bloody nipples and it's dead children, I'm like, the fuck is going on? However, the way the monster was
Sally,
introduced,
by the way, on that.
fantastic. The way the monster was introduced, I was reading the comic, I was on an airplane, and I just started busting out laughing because it was so I did not expect this. And for the pace of the book leading up to that moment, you're getting to know these characters, and they're 5 characters in this door-to-door sales group where they're selling vouchers for photography and to benefits, a volunteer firefighter thing. And I'm like, what is going on? First of all, it was already creepy because they're in West Virginia
And
what the
West
fuck?
Virginia is just creepy. Sorry.
That's a creepy spot.
Almost
Yeah.
heaven.
It is it's terrifying. But then all of a sudden you get this monster, and I was not expecting the monster. And in a lot of ways, this comic subverts expectations and tropes about monster hunters. But you bring this one in and it's bloody nipples, and I'm like, hold on, let me look up this bloody nipple person. And I remember being on the airplane, like on the Wi-Fi, just looking at this monster and the person next to me, like kind of watching what I'm doing. And I was like, don't worry about
You don't
it.
want to be a part of this.
But there's an incantation, and it was like, I found an incantation about this fucking monster. To protect yourself from this monster. And the first line is all you need is, great is the daughter of heaven who tortures babies. So that's what this monster is. And that says a lot about the actual comic, because the detail in there, along with, there's another detail where as this team goes door to door to try to sell things, they put a red dot on every mailbox or door to show like somebody's already been there. And that has like Passover vibes. And
Yeah,
Passover
I was just saying it felt
Mhm.
really biblical to me.
yeah, and I think Cullen Bunn does a really good job with that. There's like biblical tones without it being overtly Bible-y or
Yeah.
churchy or religious horror. And so I thought it was brilliant. And then you have like a monster who eats babies. I don't know if eats them is the right word.
Children in general. I don't
Children.
think it was just babies.
Yeah, and that one, there was like, they did a really good job with the foreshadowing where it's super creepy
All the missing. Yeah.
because of all of the missing children posters. So absolutely loved it, but I was not expecting that monster to show up, and it made me laugh for some reason because it was so ridiculously awesome.
Yeah, is this the most times bloody nipples has been said in a
Bloody
Gate
nipple,
Crashers?
bloody nipple, bloody nipple.
Bloody
Is
nipple,
one going to
bloody
show
nipple.
up? No, it's not like Bloody Mary. Okay.
Dang it.
I tried.
Bloody
Dan?
nipple, we take a shot.
I'm trying to think of how many times we talked about nipples in Gate Crashers. Probably a lot. Seems to be a recurring theme with me. Probably not bloody though. We probably have avoided bloody nipples. So this is a first for the website, I think.
Bloody nipple.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Bloody nipples.
it's a different
Take a
sort
shot.
of chaos. Not when I have to cut out, which is cool. So
Yeah.
that's
Do I
always
have to
cool.
cut it out? Wait, is that
No,
what it?
I don't give a shit about.
No,
bloody
he's
nipples.
saying
It's
that
just-
we can say bloody nipple. If we
We
said
can.
Yeah, we could say
bloody
bloody
something else, maybe
Yeah.
there'd be a little beep over my mouth.
Like feet?
That was
I'm
an earlier
still-
conversation that we
That's
Don't
not
get me
on
will
here.
not be on here.
Don't get me
No, it's
started
not.
about.
That's
about the-
No, let's
the
not-
foot
let's
that's
stay-
a sex and
stay
whiskey
on-
episode. That's a sex and
Yeah, let's stay on track here, guys. It's not Kinktober anymore.
It's always Kinktober in our hearts. I do want to talk about. There's a really cool page. I don't know what. It's page 15. I'm looking at the doc. Where they introduce each of the different members of the group, and you've got Alex, who was a high school biology teacher, who's just like kind of seems like to be having a good time. He's got a big beard, bigger guy. He's drinking a beer, eating some a cheeseburger. It looks like guy's as dumb as a stump if you ask me, and he pops Percocets like Tic Tacs. He seems to be having a ball. But then you get the second guy who is a preacher, Cal, and it's like you're getting these three individual panels, and then you have Lainey, who's a college student, but you can like tell their entire personalities just in these panels because how it's written, but also how expressive the characterizations of them are here. And I think it's a beautiful way to have a first issue introduce people who are fucked up, like to give us some personality so like we can catch when they're kind of off later on. And then we have the guy in the shirt. Everybody's got shirts on. The main character, Max, is the main character. What is his name? The guy in the hat.
the one who Fred. I think it's Fred.
Fred, the leader.
Yeah.
Only know
guess.
that
Oh,
'cause that's
well,
my dad's
Will-
name.
Will is the leader, right?
Will's
Will
the
is
driver, right?
Is the driver who's in charge of the team, and he does not go out with the team to the bar.
Yeah, but Fred's the one that is doing all the exposition.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I remember that from yesterday. Thanks, Nikki.
Exposition.
I was just really trying to remember the word exposition yesterday when we were
It's okay.
podcasting.
I got
couldn't-
really
I-
lucky by guessing that one because
I couldn't remember the word structure yesterday, so it took me like 8 tries to get back to there.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I think it was a really interesting introduction to these characters, and I was like, wow, this is like a strong opener.
Yeah.
What
Agreed.
are your thoughts? What made you?
I mean,
what-
the thing is, I feel like I've kind of already shared a lot of what I was like very joyful about, and without like going into all three. And I do think that there was something really cool about when if you received an early reader copy, you did get the first three issues, and it was a fun little arc to see where this story evolves to, and and you learn, and each issue, can call it an episode like 8 times, I'm sure. And each issue you really do get a little more backstory, a little more meat to like each person's character, and I find that really interesting as they sort of engage in this of like, once their eyes are open to this bizarre reality that there are demons and monsters among us, that it's funny to see like how they are really like, just, yeah, what else do we have going on? Like, let's figure this out.
Mhm.
Like, people are just randomly seeing stuff. Like, okay, children are randomly missing. Like, yeah, why not? Like, let's figure it out. And I think it kind of goes to show also, it has, in a little way, to me, it reminds me a bit of like The Boys, where it's like people who really have lost everything. And so it's like, if you've lost a majority of what makes you you, what are you going to do? And like, where is your limit? And like, how willing are you to just put your life at risk? And there's a moment where he's talking to the new member of the crew, whose name escapes me at this moment.
Max.
Max,
Max.
the main, yeah.
Well, the woman, yeah.
Mhm.
And when he's talking to her, and he was like, what were you? And she's just like, a mother. And I was just like, oh God, like, I'm not sure why that hit me so hard. I don't have children, but like, it like really, you feel it. And I think that was a really interesting thing, because it gives you an understanding of what she lost. And we get kind of a two-dimensional idea of like, oh yeah, they were a teacher, but then you kind of see like more as the issues go on, you see more of like who he was. And similar with Cal, like being a preacher, and then you see like a little bit more of like what his reality was. And so I really do love that. I think that it just, as I was saying earlier, I love a motley crew who has nothing to lose, and I love seeing where their line is.
I just really appreciate like flawed human beings who are fleshed out and like explored. Like that character development in something that is horror is wonderful. And the fact that they have multiple characters to explore and see how this development of like, look, there's more to this town that meets the eye. Like, look at all of these small details. Max was able to figure out like there's something going on here, and she's able to figure that out because she has a history. Something doesn't feel right. She was a mother, a monster impacted her life. Like it's amazing to take characters and put so much emphasis on them, and then it's like, okay, and you have the monsters themselves, but everyone has a past, and that darkness can turn around and benefit us as people.
Yeah.
Is this an ongoing or is it a mini? I couldn't remember. I think it's an ongoing, right?
I think it got
Yeah, I
renewed
think-
as an ongoing, like
Yeah,
immediately.
because the pre-sales were so good. Wasn't
Yeah.
that what happened?
And I think that totally makes sense because there's so many characters and there's so much to explore that I'm like, this makes total sense because I want to know more about these characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like the team up of Bunn and Cantirino was just like it just felt so kismet.
And Cantarino's ability to, and it's what you said earlier, Dan, it's just like set up these characters and you can see their emotions and where they are at a certain point, so you'll be able to read them later on. That's wonderful. Like it becomes cinematic. It becomes like way more. And I absolutely appreciated that. I appreciated the time dedicated to each character. And the fact that this is a motley crew. There's a line in there about like, how do you hire the best sales team? And the person in charge, I think it's Will. There are a lot of names, and I need name tags on everybody. Are y'all wearing
I'm
name
Adair.
tags? Adair. Okay, who are you?
Me, Dan.
Me, Dan. Okay,
Me,
good.
like book.
Great. Okay, good. Thanks, guys. But the main, like the person who's sort of organizing this, who is a bit of a mystery in the first issue, especially, says he
Yeah, I want
doesn't
to
look.
know more about Will.
Yeah, Will is just kind of like, who are you? But he talks about, building the best sales team, and he's not looking for great interviews, which that's like a whole capitalism commentary. There's a little bit of that in there, but it's looking for the people who they're hungry for something. And the actual quote is, what I look for is somebody hungry, someone who will work their ass off all day long, then spend all that hard-earned money on booze and whatnot. Okay, I feel seen and called out at the same time. Come morning, they're broke and looking to fill their pockets again. The burnouts, the rejects, the drifters, and the lost causes are the foundation of a damn fine sales crew. And look, I read that line and I was like, should I go into sales? Because I
You should.
feel like I'm being
It's a missed opportunity.
targeted.
Don't you forget about me.
If this
Isn't that-
episode sells like a
Isn't that
couple
the
of
ending
issues,
of-
then yes, I should go into sales because I'm a hot mess who is drinking right now. But it's like 6 o'clock on a Friday, so
Yeah, I think the only person where it's still afternoon is me.
that
Yeah.
sounds like a you problem.
It is a me.
Speed
It's
it
a
up.
me and a West Coast problem.
Yeah, that's like all of you on the West Coast. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway,
East Coast, Beast Coast, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you didn't know, Dan McMahon is kind of into horror. Dan McMahon has the shittiest camera placement as well. Everyone else is like on eye level. Mine's like I have to fucking look up in the sky. Fuck you, camera.
I think that's a you problem again.
That
You
is a me
set
problem.
that
That is
up.
a me problem.
so that's a you problem.
Yeah, I'm a
That
dumbass.
is that a
Okay.
drinking thing? Like take a shot?
I also have stolen Scarlett's ring light, so it's super bright in here. But Jesus Christ, I have to turn it down now. That bit didn't work. What I wanted to talk about is how this blends horror and humor, which is my favorite. That gets me going. That's like my kink. There is a
Turn your
beautiful
camera
scene.
off then while you describe this.
Both hands up, please, please. How's that second Miller High Life?
It's good. I probably, the problem is like once I have two, I'm like I can have like 9. So in the issue when they're fighting the titty monster, someone throws the blade? Someone throws a pocket knife. Oh, Lainey throws a pocket kniugh,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and Max goes to catch it, but it doesn't get caught. It
Oh,
goes through
God,
her
yeah.
hand. Whoa! The Zoom is telling me my hand is raised. Check that out. Bam! Hand raised on the Zoom. She raised her hand. It goes through her hand.
Sorry, sir.
which
Can
is-
you unraise your hand? Thank you.
It is so fun. It's like a very funny moment. It sucks because you got a knife in your hand, but it's like, fuck! And then they light the monster on fire, which also,
Using a whiskey bottle.
yeah, bottoms up asshole, just about the fucking worst, and lights it on fire. I love when humor and horror do a little kiss. I like that. That's my favorite thing. So I'm so excited to see where the rest of the series goes with that, because it is a really good balance. Because if you go too far horror, sometimes you lose characterization. But if you balance it with something else, then you're in the money zone. The money. That's where the money is.
Oh, they've got character development, horror, and human.
Humor.
Humans? There
Humor.
are
Humans. They do have humans.
There are a couple of those listed.
I mean, a couple of humans. I don't know. But they have all of that, and yeah, I think that's what makes this one like fantastic. And I cannot wait to see what happens next. Yes, I've read through the 3rd issue, so I know some of what happens, but I just can't wait to see what Vault continues to do with this and the entire team.
Yeah.
Just
Oh yeah.
nailed it. As
Oh,
they
yeah,
do.
brother.
Hell yeah, brother. Thanks. Yeah. Cheers.
That's also one of my favorite
I'm gonna
turn
drink.
phrases. You're gonna hear that a lot in this show.
Do we need a
Love
list of like take a
Oh
drink?
yeah, we should have like
There-
a drinking
You would
game.
die. If, like,
Do not drink as much as
Every
me
time we
and-
say vault, we drink.
Okay, yeah, there's gonna be a drinking list. Like y'all play fuck
Or we
around
could
and
do
find out.
or we could do VaultCrashers bingo. Every time like Dan says this, every time we talk about foot fetishes, every time, yeah.
the market's not real. I
I'm gonna
Real.
say that like if you have inner demons and you drink as much as I do, I feel like I should set them on fire because what I learned in this first issue is if you set them on fire, then you're good. And I'm basically soaked in whiskey at this
Well,
point.
I'm pretty sure that demon didn't die.
That's true.
So
Well,
honestly,
go
I
to-
feel like there's a flaw in your plan here.
Look, I
I'll
just need
support
them
you.
to run away for a
As a
bit
friend, I will support you.
so
But
I
I
can
think
go to
this
sleep.
plan is flawed.
It is very flawed. When you've had that much to drink, of course you're gonna have bad ideas.
Yeah, I do the with the humor and horror meetup, the kiss. This is me doing it. This is also more in ASL. So we want more
Nice.
of this. And I will say okay. Dan, not here. Now, but I will say that
Did you know ASL? It's like it's a secret skill I've got.
there you go.
We have more conversations. We need to get to know each other. Oh my
I
goodness.
know. Oh my gosh.
Okay, sorry,
I
you
will say
were-
that scene though, the reality is they've all been drinking for like a long time. So like in my head, like everything that was happening was very like slurred and like stumbly in my brain. And that's how I absorbed it and sort of felt like it was happening. And I kind of just that made it great to me. It's like when people in movies are like high and the world gets really slow and their hands have like rainbows and stuff.
So what you're saying is if the three of us had to go after a monster, which one of
We'd
us is
set-
gonna have a fucking knife through their hand?
I mean, it will 100% be Dan, but you will have thrown it. Dan will have tried to catch it. I will have been like, guys, this is how you got almost kidnapped once.
That's so true. Oh,
One
But
time, a side story about lighting things on fire. One time I was heavily drinking with my buddy, and my buddy goes, we had just come from a party where like we all wore white shirts and you like write on them. I don't know. It was some fucking
It was a Taylor
college
Swift
party.
Uh,
And he goes, "Stan, light my shirt on fire." And I went, okay. Logically, just lit his shirt on fire. Like right there, he's still wearing it. He took it off, put it on the ground, and then we danced around it for like 20 minutes. Just I am prone to lighting things on fire. So again, if we're in this battle, just let me know what I'm lighting on fire. You have to direct me.
I can do that. I'm really bossy.
we've got
gonna-
this guy.
We'll leave that one too.
We've got like whatever like baby kidnapping demon is coming our way. We've got this. Someone's gonna get stabbed. We're probably gonna need some help
Nobody
for some
tried to kiss
burn
it either.
wounds.
So
Oh, you're gonna be
That's
the one
also
trying to
a-
kiss it. Like, what?
yeah, I'm just saying, if, like you never know. Like maybe the little smoochy smooch is gonna be fine.
I'm not gonna kiss it. I don't have a
Listen,
thing for bloody nipples. Take a drink.
Neither do I. But I'm saying if there's a demon and the only way to stop it is if you fuck it, I'm gonna be the person who's gonna have to take one for the team.
Well, okay, that's fine. Yeah,
Yeah,
Adair and
see?
I are gonna live our lives. We're not gonna
Yeah.
fuck this demon.
I don't want to, but if I have to stop it, then
I don't want to speak for Adair. Adair, would you fuck this demon?
yeah, would you fuck the demon?
Thank you. Okay.
Even if it meant saving our lives.
Your lives or the lives of like the world?
I know it's just like
Damn.
let's take this.
Damn, that's some shit. That's some real shit.
Wow, you had to make it real, okay?
I think I like my other co-host better. I know Ethan would fuck this demon for me.
I mean, I fuck a lot of demons like all the time.
I'm
Totally.
not sure it'd be this one, but
I
I
wouldn't wanna
consider
fuck
others. It's just I'm very short.
You're too short to
All right, that makes sense. I got it. You're good. Anything else you want to get into about this comic book before we talk about?
I think we should.
laundry list
I
of
think we've been overserved. So
All right, let's talk about Vault News, baby. Yeah, oh yeah.
I'm gonna let y'all do that. I was gonna
Welcome to the news. Welcome to the news. Holy shit, there's a cat in here. Resonant picked up for development. Gerard
go.
McRary signs deal with BET Plus to adapt Resonant. Written by David Antry, art by Skylar Pedroth and Alejandro Aragon, colors by Jason Wardy, and letters by Darren Bennett. Who wants to talk about Metallica? What's that song? Give me fuel, give me fire, gives me that what I desire. Ugh.
There's like
You're welcome. That's for
It's
David.
really fun to belly dance to Enter Sandman by Metallica. That's not what you were talking about.
What? Yeah, you know it's
Sorry.
really fun to clap my ass to Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit.
I mean, you can, but like
What?
legit, like
What
I have a
kind
whole
of-
belly dance routine.
When I'm
to-
doing the worm, I'm often just listening to
Yeah.
Kate Bush.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were not
I'm running up that
specific.
hill.
You just said talk about Metallica, and I was like belly dancing.
Well, Vault has announced their musical
Yeah,
imprint
thank you.
Headshell. It's a line of graphic novels inspired by and written in collaboration with a wide variety of artists. This has been a team up that has been rumored because of the partnership with Metallica, and the first announced Headshell piece was Pete Wentz's combination with Lisa Sturl.
Lisa Stroll,
Yeah,
who did Witchblood.
yeah,
Witchblood.
my fave.
Which fucking rules. She turned what's the main character's name?
Yuna.
Yuna turned me into a baby, canonically.
And
So-
Lisa Sturl did a tarot deck,
Yeah, we both have that
Yes.
tarot deck.
and there are variant covers for Witchblood that are like tarot cards
I can't wait to talk about Witchblood.
as
That's a
well,
fucking
and I
cool book.
absolutely
God.
love it. Like that was one of
I'm like
the
drooling. I'm
the
salivating.
first
as
time
we
I
talk
was
about
like, I
Witchblood.
need these variant covers. I need them in my life. I went after Witchblood. I went after those covers and
The
tarot cards.
on the Whatnot stream. The first ever Pink Slip special was the Yoshi variants of the Witchblood cover, and I got them, so I'm very
Shout out to
happy.
Dan Crary.
Shout out to Dan Crary. We've not brought you up yet, but you're the
Here you
reason
are.
why we exist here today.
You're a little cutie. You're
Yeah,
welcome.
you are. Yeah, you are.
Adorable.
Hey, buddy.
Got great hair.
What
God, the best hair.
Next year, the year of the axe, which
Oh.
we've got special shit in store for. Nikki, I know how horny you are about Barbaric.
Yeah, Nikki's like about to like strangle you with
Both
she's like-
hands are above
she's-
the table.
She's like, you don't freaking talk about this. This is
Go ahead. Why are you so excited about Barbaric?
No, I'm not gonna. I can't.
No, talk about it.
What do you like about
Talk about-
Barbaric?
Talk about what's been announced with Barbaric. Talk to us about your love of
Read the whole
Barbaric,
timeline.
but do it within 1 minute.
1 minute.
Go.
I'm just. My girlfriend is in that. Oh my god! Like that's all I need. Like, ugh. Okay.
What's the news?
So it's the year of the axe. So much Barbaric news in 2023. There are multiple arcs coming out. There's going to be an arc that explores Soren and have her be like the main bad bitch that she is, my girlfriend. And there's also, starting in January, it's Hell to Pay. It kicks back up, and I believe it is 4 issues. And yeah, it's just going to keep going and going and going
should.
and going. And when I said earlier that like Wasted Space was my shit, and that's what got me into Vault, Mike Morisi, he writes Barbaric. Nathan Gooden is a co-creator. He does the art, and it's absolutely fan-fucking-tastic. And you're going to hear me be like a total... Look, if we're not canceled before January, the stuff I will do in January when we celebrate Barbaric is going to be obscene.
We will be
I'm
setting up an
canceled.
OnlyFans for.
I'm going to
Yeah.
set up an OnlyFans just for my love for Barbaric. It's... Oh my gosh. It's
And
embarrassing. That's less than a minute. Okay, done. Somebody else talk before I
you've
get
got
horny.
time left. Jesus Christ. All right, we'll end that one there. Adair, do you want to?
There's
a minute.
Okay,
Oh,
there's the
nice. You
minute.
actually set a timer. All
Oh
right.
my God. Okay.
ADHD. This little fucker, super helpful at keeping concentrated.
Because I was
All
going
right.
to transition into the next thing, but no, let's go ahead. Adair.
Yeah, I'm transitioning right now. I've become a demon. No bloody nipples though. Also,
Yeah.
to be released by Vault in the next few weeks are issue number 6 of West of Sundown, which marks the beginning of the second arc of West of Sundown by Mr. Tim Seeley, and then also issue 5 of Dark Interlude and Heart Eyes number 3. What else, Nikki?
So End After End number 3 was released, and we talked about Resonant, and David Andry is one of the writers on that, as well as Tim Daniel, who I think that's Dan's favorite. What are you doing?
Just ignore him. Just keep going.
The trade paperback of We Ride Titans was released as well, and Mindset number 5, I believe, will be released like a couple days after this episode. And so our December episode.
Fun fact about that, though.
If we're not
what's
canceled,
the fun fact about
about
Mindset, Nikki?
I don't have any fun facts.
What are we talking about next month?
We all have to read and discuss all 5 issues of Mindset. It's the end of the first arc, and we have to be sober enough to do it and not as chaotic as we are today. That's the fun fact.
No,
that's
we
not it.
did not sign on to that. There was no contract.
No. We're gonna drink and be fucking chaos, and we're gonna talk about Mindset, which is a fantastic. It's a fantastic series, and we're all mind controlled. Basically, that's it. That's all you need to know. So
fuck the tech industry.
Fuck the tech industry is what Dan has to say. Adair, thoughts?
Dan, can you tell us what Vault has announced will be their spring 2023 titles?
We didn't mention that We Ride Titans trade paperback is coming out. That book is fucking Pacific Rim. If Pacific Rim and Fast and Furious, you know, they're gonna do a little kissing. It is great. So
is it like tongue kissing? Like, is there tongue?
Yeah, Dom always puts tongue into what he does.
Okay.
He lives his life a quarter mile at a time. Fast and Furious fucking rules. All right, so
I'm really figuring out what dynamic this is going to be.
I've never seen Fast and Furious.
Spring. Hold on, wait, ready? Spring. We've got, this is before everyone else has gotten this news. This shit exclusive, but you probably won't.
It will have already been announced.
It'll be announced by the time this comes out. So spring, we got barbaric hell to pay, baby. You know that. We've got Godfell. We've also got The Nasty, Songs for the Dead Afterlife, and Money Shot Comes Back. Godfell, written by Christopher Sabella, artist Ben Hennessy, colorist Triona Farrell, and Vittorio Astoni. Letterer Jim Campbell. Jim Campbell pretty much fucking letters everything. Dude fucking rocks. The Nasty, which is the one I'm most excited for, is written by John Lees, artist George I should have read these beforehand. Kamadas. When we
in your defense, we got this like right before we started to record.
It's okay. I every time I do an interview, I go, "Hey, can you pronounce your name for me? I don't want to sound like an asshole." Letter Jim Campbell, designer Tim Daniel. Fun fact: both here she is, Pearl. Both Vault Comics and VaultCrashers are completely designed by Tim Daniel. The only show that isn't is Yours, Nikki, which is done by someone from Second Rocket, which is Tim's company. The Nasty is an ode to the video nasties of the 1980s, which is like slashers and things like that, which I'm super fucking into. I'm so fucking pumped for the Nasty. Songs for the Dead Afterlife #1, written by Andrea Fort and MC Heron, artist MJ Erickson, colorist Addison Duke, letter Andworld. Let me read the synopsis for this one, because this one does sound banging, and I don't think I've seen anything about this. Like, this hasn't been announced at all yet, right?
Nope.
I don't
It'll
think
be
so.
announced on Monday.
Bethany is a necromancer and a hero. Alongside with her companions, Elisar and Jonas, she has finally found the rumored covenant. Her perilous journey has brought her to the last bastion of the necromancers. But resurging prejudices have them in shambles. Can Bethany unite them in the face of escalating tensions, or will the coming war shatter all of her dreams for a peaceful future? That's a cold read. You're welcome.
I liked our reaction shots, Nikki. I like that we both just were like, let's react to this.
Oh, fuck,
That was not planned.
No.
Shit. All right,
Brought
leave
to
them
you
for
by whiskey.
Godfell and the Nasty too, because the Nasty's been announced. I don't have to read that one. Godfell has not been announced. This one I know everyone's excited for. One sunny day in the land of Corinthium, God falls dead from the sky. R.I.P. Pour one out. The impact sends a shockwave that draws in royal families at war, shadowy creatures of the dark, and armies of the dispossessed, all coming to lay claim to the parts of God's body. Into the power struggle wanders Zanzi Voline, a soldier and berserker trying to get home from a years-long war, forced to fight her way through the strange landscapes in and on God's corpse. From the soles of its feet through the top of its head, Zanzi will acquire a mysterious traveling companion on her own pilgrimage.
We're gonna have a lot of cool shit to cover.
I know,
in
this is gonna be so much fun.
2023. Like VaultCrashers, we have shit to do.
Yeah, guys.
And then the last book is Money Shot Comes Again, which will be out in April 2023, written by Tim Seeley, art by Giselle Legas. Wait, that's the person that Adrian posts on Twitter all the time, isn't it? They have like really horny art. I mean, I hope
think
they do
so.
horny art.
Adrian,
think
do you
it-
post that person on Twitter all the time?
Yeah, if I'm
Let
wrong,
us know.
I feel like Dan's
if-
just manifesting horny art.
It's
Yeah.
fine. I do
I'm
too.
This is
trying.
manifesting, apparently.
Yeah. This is
Colorist Carlos Badilla letterer Crank. There's an exclamation point at the end of Crank, so I got to pull a little chutzpah into it. All of them are designed by Tim Daniels. The XX Explorers are back and on their hands and knees for the good of humanity. When the giant-ass space jellyfish who run the ordered universe arrive on Earth, the porn stars come, science explorers, it's come with a U, must put away their grudges, crushes, and side hustles to once again take 1 or 2 or 3 for the team. Begins an epic new arc which takes aim at dumb billionaires and bad optics, and guest stars a legendary underground comics heroine. Oh. New artist Giselle Legas puts her sexy spin on the book. What are you all excited for? Nikki, I think you're excited for Barbarian.
Yeah, Barbaric Hell to Pay is my
Oh,
shit.
I say Barbarian.
and
Fuck, Barbaric.
You
It's
know what?
okay. That movie did just come out recently. and
I know
it's
where you
affected our
live, and I'll come
Twitters.
take it out. Like, it's fine. I know where you live.
It's fine.
For getting that wrong. Yeah, no.
I'm the one who announced the book. I just always fuck it up. Like the original press stuff, all Dan McMahon when he worked at the soulless fucking corporation. I don't give a
Anyway,
fuck.
Barbaric Hell to Pay is. I'm for it, and I'm gonna be.
Horny on Maine.
If there's a main,
She'll be doing some stuff.
I'll be doing some stuff. Reading comics and drinking and talking about them.
It's a good way to go.
Adair,
good
what are you
idea.
looking forward to?
I mean, I'm really stoked for Godfall. I think the concept is really cool. I will say that the little teaser art we got at NYCC has me very excited for everything. But yeah, I think that, Money Shot looks like amazing. I think all of the things that are also coming with Barbaric is just really, it's exciting. It's exciting to see the timeline, and it was very, very cool. That whole announcement. This month my Twitter has been like in overuse, and now it's going to be, non-existent, but it's been really, all right.
It was great while it lasted. Like, we really got some stuff out there, right?
Long live Mastodon. No, I'm not saying that. Never mind.
I mean, I
No,
can just
we'll
we're
figure it
fine.
out.
Dan, what are you looking
Dan, what are you
forward to?
excited about?
I like books. The Nasty. It's got to be the Nasty.
Yeah, it seems really cool.
Yeah, I didn't read the thing for that. I'll do it right now. This is like a book made for me. 18-year-old Thumper Cornell still has imaginary friends. The masked killer from his favorite slasher film, kind of like me and Jason. Thumper is obsessed with horror and always has been. He fills his time with scary VHS rentals and hanging out with his fellow fans, the Murder Club. Probably not the coolest kids. But everything changes when his local video shop acquires one of the notorious video nasties. Films so scary that the target of British Moral Decency League's crusade to ban and burn. But it's only a movie, right? It's all just imaginary, isn't it? A story about the perception of evil, the power of genre, the love of fandom, the need to create art, and crap your pants terror. I think Vault should just pay me to read these.
I was about to say
I
that
think
was for
was
some
good.
cold reads. That was great. I loved the art that they had for the nasty. I was actually looking for it because
He
I feel
looks
like you-
sick.
I feel like, yeah, the art that they showed was amazing, but that one was just delightful. Here we go. This
You
is
got it. I believe in you.
Yeah, it works.
yeah, kind
There
of,
you go.
but it's very cool. It's adorable, honestly.
I love big slashers when they're big, like just
Big, super big.
Like
Yes.
Bane in Batman and what was it? Batman Forever?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
wait,
No, Batman and
Batman
Robin.
Forever.
Batman
That was like the 90s.
Bat nipples. I'm talking about Bat nipple time. Bloody
Okay, that
nipple,
was
Bat
George
nipple.
Clooney.
Great film.
Yeah, George
Great film.
Clooney, Chris O'Donnell, Uma Thurman,
Mr. Freeze.
Mr.
Yeah.
Freeze.
Say
That
bat
killed the
nipples.
dinosaurs.
How
Bat
many
nipples,
times have we
bloody
said
nipples.
in this
Nipples,
episode? I'm gonna
nipples.
have
Probably a
to.
lot.
Nipples.
I'm
Nipples.
gonna
Nipples.
have to count it up and put it like right here.
Drink every time we say nipples.
And if you haven't been
You're
drinking
drunk.
every
You
time,
have alcohol poisoning. Stop.
please go see a doctor.
All
Or
right.
not,
Well,
that's fine. Insurance is hard. What
It
are we
is.
doing now? What's going on? What?
I think we're done. I think.
We're done. How
I
do you want
think
to
we're-
end this? How do people want us to end this?
Yeah. How do you want us to end it? Do
Like, do we
you?
just
Let's
say
end the show.
bye?
Should we just stare at the camera and then stop?
I don't like that
No.
because I'm
Should
like
we-
uncomfortable
Should
with
we
eye
all like
contact.
toast to each other with our empty glasses because we're all problematic?
I've moved on to water.
Oh, yeah, I was drinking water too, as well.
Water. It
Water.
makes you live.
Do you have a Gatecrashers sticker on your water bottle too?
I don't own any Gatecrashers stickers.
I do. What the
I
fuck,
I didn't
Dan? I
own-
have a coffee mug.
I am so busy working Gatecrashers that I didn't own any shirts until New York. I'm
He
so-
just walks around shirtless. He has no
yeah,
shirts.
naked all the time.
All right, good night.
All right, see ya. Woo!
Auf
See-
Wiedersehen.
And that's
Bye.
it.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, see ya viewers.
That's wrong.
Do you sock them?
Do you punch
I
'em?
just kind of
Do you
sit
put
there.
cream cheese in their face and then throw locks into their mouth so they
Oh,
shut the
fuck.
fuck
No,
up?
that's supposed.
thing-
That's me eating.
A
Bitch,
New
I want it
Jersey-
creamy.
Well, all right.
That can get
Two
edited
things-
out.
There are
I don't
two
know. Are
things
we
that
recording
any-
right now?
Yeah, this is recording.
This
We
is
can cut
recording. I
whatever
just
we
have to
want.
cut it out. Yeah.
Oh, let's
But
just not.
There's, if you do not put enough cream cheese on the bagel, like if it's
Mhm.
just a little schmear, you can lick my entire ass. Number two,
Stop
pork roll.
using that as a threat.
pork-
There are
pork
some people
roll.
who are like, I'm gonna lick all of that ass on purpose.
I think like my go-to for like years, just like I'll lick my ass. But I people are into that, so whatever gets you off.
But-
I'm like crying right now.
You just
I
come back in
hate
and
you
we're
right now.
crying.
I think we keep that. I think this is good
I think
content.
we just
Oh
keep
my
all
God.
of that.
This is incredible. You guys are everybody watching this. There's just this is completely
God,
who I
I
am
fucking
all
hope
the
no
time.
one's watching this.
Can I just
I hope
at the, I'm just gonna put
Adrian and Damien and Dave,
No.
everybody at Vault's watching this and be like, oh,
Ugh.
that's just Dan. Okay, so let's
I'm
talk.
I don't
Crying.
show emotion in general, so don't make me cry.
After this show, you're gonna be very different as a person. This is gonna be a what do you call that? Expose. We're gonna
A
figure
deep
out if the market's
expose.
big. We're gonna try to sell pictures. All of us are gonna try to sell pictures of our feet and see how big the market is. Bam. Recording. That's how you end it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that's
end
the
the
end of the
recording.
episode.
Hold
Yeah,
on, I just
Nikki,
wanna
end
it. Nikki,
see-
come on.
End it. Come on.
Click it.
Stop. Stop.
It's the Dee Cunnifee Show.